Hi there, everybody. I hope you can even see me with this lighting, but I'm stuck with it. So therefore you're stuck with it because I have the technical skills of the pug. Okay, so catching up on a lot of requests. Many of you are interested in Marianne Williamson. Interesting character. I will also be doing Julian Castro. I will try and also get a top-up on Kamala Harris. I've got a bit of a reservation building about Kamala, which I will get to explain to you. We'll see how we go. And don't forget, this will be the first of these readings. Some will drop out very soon. Others will be there. It's a fluid situation. Meanwhile, the Yeti's doing hopscotch, jumping back and forth across the demilitarized zone in North-South Korea. Does he not love a despot? The funny thing is, I don't even think these authoritarian figures like him. I think Kim Jong-un thinks he's died and gone to heaven because he's got someone who's given him world publicity. But whether they like him or not is another story. Anyway, we're going to start today with Marianne Williamson. I've had a lot of requests for her. These readings today are also an experiment. I'm using the Geopolitical deck. Normally, I would not use this deck for personal sort of one-on-one readings of this nature, but I'm seeing how they go. If they aren't clear to me, I'll go back to the Rider-Waite for the political readings, but they might be great. We'll see. So looking at Marianne first. Oh, before I go any further, dearest viewers, there was a significant loss in the courts about the gerrymandering. Bad judge, naughty judge, bad. But there were a few wins. There was the citizenship question was not allowed to go ahead. The federal court, it was Judge Emmett Sullivan who said Trump can't keep stalling on the emoluments. That will go ahead. And there was a third one, which was blocking the use of military funds for the stupid wall. So that's 3 wins, 1 loss legally during the week. So don't get disheartened, even though the gerrymandering is a scandal, and I think people should keep fighting it. I grew up in a state that was gerrymandered. I understand how it works. So keep going. Do not take no for an answer. All right. So let me concentrate. Marianne Williamson. Interesting woman. I'm going to do a rose spread for her, and we'll see what happens with that. It's a 7-carder. All right. Now, in the middle, women like her. Women like her a lot. This is normally the card of the 3 women celebrating, the horses galloping forward. There's momentum to her energy and what she has to convey. Whether that'll translate politically, we'll see. But she has the fearlessness of a wild horse. You call them Mustangs, we call them Brumbies here. So there's a wild breakout energy to her, even though she speaks very well and very concisely. She is absolutely the breakout character for obvious reasons. So her past feelings, or what made her want to run here, the volcano. She is concerned about the entire planet and global warming and the environment and the spiritual implications of neglecting it, etc. So that is her motivation. Her motivation is for the higher good, but also the volcano that's been building around these issues. We've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to move quite quickly. In the past, she came close to thinking about doing this, but didn't. Or I could just not know her story. She might have tried to run before, and I just didn't hear about it. Or she thought about it and put it aside while she did other work. So it's one of those two things. I'm sure you'll be able to tell me which one of those is correct, viewers. So the universe's advice to her and the advice she brings, this might seem strange, the Hermit card, right? But the Hermit is about inner spiritual learning. So that is obviously the message that she brings. On the one hand, talking of the collective, the American collective, the global collective, but unless people do their own spiritual work and grow and can look through these gaslighting sort of events that are constant and happening, the real change cannot occur. So for global change, it's that local global thing. Local meaning right down to the personal. This is her key message. So how's she feeling about it at the moment? You know what? If you're listening, Marianne, I don't blame you. She's actually wondering why she's bothering with the political process on one level. But it's very brave of her to keep turning up with her particular message. But she's getting a bit disenchanted with the process herself. In other words, I'll stick my neck out and say it, I think she'll be kind of relieved at the elimination phase, which is virtually now, but she had a platform to talk about, where's the volcano? By doing this, she had a platform to talk about this stuff that's important. So she is at this stage feeling a bit meh. Why am I putting myself through all this? But strength, where the situation's going. She has enormous strength personally and intellectually, but she also gives strength to others. So you don't feel you're the only utopian hippie in the world who wants climate change. This is actually a critical, serious economic issue that's going to involve the lives of everyone. So she conveys strength. She has strength, but she conveys strength. So her advice, the universe's advice for her to the future, the Page of Pentacles, it's a gorgeous little card with the butterflies on the globe. So she will continue on. She has a youthful energy about her and she speaks. Young people will listen. So she has a future as with a profile, regardless of where she goes politically or doesn't go. This has raised people's awareness and recognition of her. So it hasn't been in vain. I'm not surprised to a large extent that there's no more political information coming out about her. I think she has this other role, which is why I want to see Republican primary debates. Will we see any? Will there be anybody who'll stand up? Really, truly. All right. So sorry, Marianne, that's your time in the sun. I'm still not feeling it for Biden, but I'll hold my tongue on that. Let's go Julian Castro. Forgive my poor Spanish accent. He presented well in the debate. I deliberately didn't want to watch the debate because I knew I'd be doing these I caught up on a bit of news of this one and that one, but I deliberately didn't watch. But I think he presented himself well. So, is he going to have any cut through with this? Julian Castro. Julian Castro. What's his story? All right. Slash and burn. He gets the death card first up, and in this sense, that's not a bad thing. Okay, so let's look at these. All right, there's a lot going on with this man. So in the center, the death card, which is endings and beginnings. I certainly don't hope it's anything to do with literal death. But like I said, as a central card for a young person, it's not altogether a bad thing. He understands it has to be radically changed, even though he's weirdly positioned. He's not the first port of call when you think of the radicals. Ironically, it's the older ones like Bernie and Elizabeth Warren and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But he is representing a new beginning and wants a new beginning. His past feelings about this, the drowned it is here, or the hanged man in the traditional decks. So he's thought about this for a while, and he's waited for a while grooming himself, preparing the ground, getting the new perspective he will need to come up with a new message. I'm not sure. I'm hearing that he hasn't got his full message yet. He hasn't got his pitch that you can reduce to one line that can really work for him. So, new perspective. He has to be careful. He can be distracted a bit by fluff and bubble, not least of which is money. He's a bit vulnerable on that front. He can maybe surround himself with, yeah, you're great people, and that is not in his best interest. My advice to him, if anyone who has his ear is listening, is how serious is he really, or is he playing? Is he just hoping to build his own profile through this and doesn't really expect to go far? Or will he learn from this, because this is in his past, will he learn from this? So, what does he need to understand? That it's a war. In that sense, a culture war. Okay, I think he's a bit of an everybody pleaser. I'm saying this having said not watch the debate, but that's my thing. Is he's trying to be too many things to too many people. This is why he's getting a bit lost. He needs a clearer message. Really clear. I think he's beginning to realise this with the Page of Wands or the Jester of Fire. He's not going to be able to please everybody, but he is uniquely placed to bring the Hispanic community to a place where it's been reluctant to go. He might provide that cohesion, which is really important for that voting bloc. So that bodes well. Where's the situation going? The Ace of Wands or Ace of Swords. That is good. Aces are good for initiating things. It's also swords, truth and justice. He's got to move away from this. He can't shy away from the war. He's got to be a bit more ballsy about this to have cut through in his own broader community, I'm feeling. Rather, before he can convince America, he's got to convince his own. I think he's popular, but it's not quite enough. This will give him the energy for enough. Now, his advice, oddly enough, is the moon. Now, with these political readings for a long time, I've sort of pushed the moon aside a bit as the lies and deceit card. That's quite common. It's easy to do. But in his reading, what I'm feeling very strongly and hearing, his instincts are actually quite good. I keep coming back to this card. This is the card of illusion, delusion, being distracted. He's allowed himself to be distracted. He has to go back to his deep unconscious. He's also got to clean out his kitchen cabinet. By that I mean, I think he's got too many yes people around him. He actually needs to find out people in his extended community who don't like his ideas. He needs to get them on board. And this could come to him as a dream or a vision. There's that unconscious thing about the moon. So if you look at his midline through here, my message to him is, you do need to acknowledge it's a culture war. It is a time for endings and beginnings, and he's well placed to be part of that, and to trust his deeper instincts. As he's maturing, his instincts are maturing, but he's getting distracted by these other things. What I'm loving generally, though, the talent that is coming through. 2024 is going to be a corker too. And if you watch the political astrologers, we're in for quite a ride here, viewers. So we're going to be bonded for the next couple of years. There's 2020, which no one can see past because it's so full on and really, really important. But the energy in the aftermath of that to really rebuild a new America, not going backwards, a new America that is responsible in terms of climate change, that can get their heads around green jobs are the jobs of the future, etc. Diversity breeds strength, going back to core values of tolerance and inclusion. It's going to take more years, and there's so much young talent to guide that. So I'm excited. I'm excited. So, that's Julian. I tell you who else got forgotten. Oops. I haven't got a question, so that's just bad shuffling. Tulsi Gabbard. Now, Hawaii. Why I'm bringing her up is because the Drudge Report, I try and get out of my echo chamber and see what hideous things the right is saying to itself. Matt Drudge, the Drudge Report, he thought Tulsi Gabbard won the debate. That's curious. So I have to do a reading on her. In fact, I might put her in this lot and do Kamala in the next one. I'm going to look at Tulsi Gabbard now. Hawaii. Why did the Conservatives think? What did she say? Please give me feedback on this. Tulsi Gabbard, Hawaii. Okay. I'll just do a conventional 5-carder on her. Oh, she gets lovely cards. How bizarre is that? These are winner cards. I'm not leaping to say that Tulsi Gabbard is going to become the next president of the United States. That is patently a highly unlikely scenario. But what this is telling me is she has a huge and shiny future. One of the reasons is she's really good at chess. She knows how to play the game. So because Hawaii is an outlier state, having been illegally annexed by the United States in 1896 or whenever it was, an illegal takeover because they wanted a naval base in the Pacific, people don't look at Hawaii, don't think about Hawaii. Happy to have Pacific soldiers there, but the odd gridiron player, but who's thinking about Hawaii? She is very interesting and she knows how to play the game. Behind her, the chariot motion, she's on her way. Underneath her is the Wheel of Fortune. You know, this is a karmic destiny. She has a huge... If I was reading for Kamala Harris and these were her cards, I'd be going, oh, well, isn't that amazing? She's actually going to do it. You know, they are so big and positive, these cards. But because of the obscurity comparatively about her candidacy, this is speaking very personally. And she's going to fly. Tulsi Gabbard is going to fly. That might mean she ends up being an ambassador somewhere or whatever. She is going to have a significant role to play in the politics, not only of Hawaii, but I'm getting a bigger picture, even globally. Okay, Wheel of Fortune, destiny, meant to be, karmic wheel, usually a good fortune card. Don't rule this woman out. I'm not saying she's even going to be VP, but she is going to deservedly get some epic position down the track. On top of all that is the sun, right? Only radiance and light and energy and conviction and attractive to people and What did Matt Drudge notice that everyone else missed? I don't know. And the Ten of Pentacles, so intergenerational. She is going to start an intergenerational thing. I'm hearing it's about the climate issue too. She is going to be a very articulate spokesperson for that. So there's this energy coming together, a lot of women's energy coming together, in particular about climate change. Well, that was a surprise. I want to upload this, so I won't make it any longer. I'll come back with Kamala Harris and why I'm getting a bit twitchy about her. I hope you're intrigued. Okay. Before I leave, there's always something, usually more than one thing. I just want to say thank you very much for your responses to the video on Racism 2020. And I'd just like to say, look, it's the same in Australia as it is there. One of the things that I think most Anglos don't get is, even if they're sympathetic to people's institutional plight and sensitive to racism, they don't understand that for most people of colour, this is not historical stuff. It's everyday stuff. It's now. And I call it the taxi test. So there was a classic case in Australia where an Aboriginal woman won the Order of Australia for her advocacy and her work over the years, and she couldn't get a taxi when she left the building with her award because she was an Aboriginal woman. So I call it the taxi test. Keep those comments rolling in. Best wishes. Back soon. Oh, North Korea. I mean, really, please. Jared's peace plan. I mean, really. Bye.